I've been playing zombies for over 15 years now, and one of my favorite things about this game mode is all the facts, glitches, and secrets. In today's video, I'm going to be going over some of my favorite facts, glitches, and or secrets across every map from World at War to Black Ops 2. But before the video starts, I have to give a huge shout out to my good friend, Mr. J Squiggles, for helping me record a huge amount of this footage. I will link his channel down below. And guys, on a real note, videos like these take a long time to plan out, record, and edit, so dropping a like and subscribing helps out a ton. Also, I have a huge catalog of Call of Duty related videos on my channel, so please check those out. And without further ado, let's get into the video. Starting off on Nacht der Untoten, did you know that the Thompson wall buy is listed for 1500 points, but in reality only costs 1200 points? And kind of the same thing for the hand grenades. They're listed for 250 points on the wall, but you can buy them for 200 points, but this time it'll actually send you into zombies' points debt. And lastly, we all know that the zombies break through the wall in the box room, but this actually does not happen until round 5. Moving over to Verruckt, we're kind of sticking with the points theme here because that was one of the busted things in World at War. If you head over to Double Tap and buy either the grenades on the wall or the MP40, you will actually send yourself into zombies points debt once again. And if we break out of the map using no clip and head over behind the power room, we're actually going to see this sign on the wall, which looks a lot like the sign in the power room, but this time it has a zombie icon on it. My theory with this is this was a scrapped asset for the map, and I think this would have gone where the traps on the wall go, but they decided the traps are pretty self-explanatory, you don't really need any instructions. Heading over to Shi No Numa, there's actually a way to get out of the map. Over by the fishing hut, if you have Juggernog and you time your run and jump just right, you can actually break out of the map. Now this is really cool because you can pretty much run completely out of bounds. There are a few death barriers and points you will fall off the map, but just be aware the zombies can still target you and down you outside of the map. Moving over to Riese, I actually found this one not too long ago working on a new video which should be coming out in the near future. If you are using no clip, you can actually see on top of this shed by spawn that the letters SOS are written out with wooden planks and sandbags. If you make your way over to the room above the Thompson wall buy, you will see these red vials on the shelf and on the desk. While the red vials on the shelf do not do anything, if you walk up and hit your interact button on the red vial on the desk, your player will actually make a grunting noise. I don't know if this was supposed to be something that was going to relate to the perks, or if this is just a bug in the game that they just did not realize they left in. But if you head right back downstairs to the Thompson wall buy to this pile of rubble, you'll actually see a brick on the ground. And if you hit your interact button, the brick will disappear and reveal a message. And lastly, on Riese, if you make your way over to the room that holds the staircase to take you up to Juggernog by the catwalk, if you look at this board over on the wall, you can actually see there's photos of future zombies maps on the wall. The most notable one is a photo of what looks like to be a zombie standing in front of the Eiffel Tower. And as we all know, this Paris zombies map was scrapped in favor for Moon. Now jumping off World at War and moving over to Black Ops 1 Kino der Toten, I knew that there were perk bottles in this glass display case over by Quick Revive, but for some reason the Juggernog and Speed Cola bottle actually have their multiplayer counterpart names on the bottle instead of the zombie bottle names. And if we make our way over to the room in the back corner of the map that connects the alley to the theater, if you look at the floor and look at the letters on the ground, it'll actually spell out Manhattan Down. This is in reference to the Manhattan Project during World War II. Moving on from Kino to 5, if you make your way downstairs into this room, you'll actually see what looks like some prototype weapons in the shelf and on the table. We have the Thunder Gun and the Winter's Howl. And believe it or not, 5 was actually the first map in COD Zombies to offer the Death Machine power-up, which, might I add, makes it really easy to kill the mad scientist. And lastly, on 5, if you make your way to the war room, and if you shoot out the window in this exact sequence and rebuild the barriers in this exact sequence, you can actually get on top of this window. Now, this is a huge pain in the ass to do because the window does not always rebuild in this order. Not gonna lie, this took about 20 tries to get right. If you can do this glitch, it's super useful. Otherwise, I would say just play normally and you'll save a bunch of time. Jumping over to Ascension, once you have all the lunar landers activated and the rocket ready to launch, if you grab a weapon like a ray gun, rocket launcher, anything of that sort, once you launch the rocket, you can actually shoot it down. And we all know on Ascension, we have to deal with the space monkeys. Not only do they tank thundergun shots and stun the ever-living hell out of you, they also steal your perks. But if you're lucky enough to get Juggernog as your free perk, you can actually follow this sequence of events to keep Juggernog completely safe from the monkeys. So firstly, you need to not open these 2 doors. The first one is in spawn, and the second one actually leads back down to spawn, but leads back up to Juggernog. So then the best way to do this is if you buy Quick Revive and then wait for the monkeys, make sure they do not touch the Quick Revive machine, and if you are lucky enough to get Juggernog for your free perk, the next time the monkeys come, they will attack Quick Revive, but since the doors are closed to get the Juggernog, they cannot take it, and so they just end up chasing you. So this will work infinitely until you go down and you open the doors to have to rebuy Juggernog. Now moving over to Call of the Dead, if you no-clip and fly outside the map, you'll find this unfinished box outside the map with no textures on it. My theory is that this was going to be used for part of the Easter egg, probably something having to do with the submarine. But now one of my favorite things about Call of the Dead is if you're playing on PC, you can actually buy Deadshot Daiquiri for a discount. The reason is because the devs did not consider that Deadshot Daiquiri would have absolutely no benefit to the player on PC. So instead of 1,500 points, it cost 1,000. So moving on to Shangri-La, there's actually not too many secrets or glitches, but this is the second map in the series that offers randomized perks on top of being the second map where you can get all 8 perks. The way that the random perks work is that Quick Revive and Mule Kick always spawn in at the same areas, but Stamina, PhD Flopper, Double Tap, and Deadshot will always spawn underground, while Juggernog and Speed Cola will always spawn upstairs, but they can flip sides. And Shangri-La was the first map in COD Zombies to introduce female zombies. Jumping over to Moon, if you've ever played around in Area 51 when you first spawn in, you'll hear a beep that goes off probably every 10 to 20 seconds. This beep actually indicates that the zombies are getting faster and stronger because there are actually no rounds when you're at Area 51. But one of my favorite things on Moon is the hacker equipment. But we all know you use the hacker to stop the excavators from breaching certain parts of the map. But did you know that you can use the hacker to re-roll the box? You can use it to get your money back if you accidentally bought a perk you didn't want. You can use it to change one drop to a max ammo. And lastly, you can hack the Pack-a-Punch machine to raise the gates around Pack-a-Punch so that you have a little bit more time to pack your weapons without absolutely getting annihilated the second you step off the teleportation pad. But that's all for Black Ops 1. Moving over to Black Ops 2's Transit, did you know when you were in the pack area in the bank vault beneath town, these are actually reused assets from the map 5? Which this is something I did not know until recently, but honestly it makes sense because in the early Call of Duty games, they reused so many assets because it just saved a lot of time and it saved a lot of space on the game file. But jumping over to Die Rise, you'll notice there are actually 2 types of zombies. You have your regular zombie, but then you have zombies wearing armor. And the zombies wearing armor actually have more health. But if you use no clip or theater mode and head down the elevator shaft right from spawn, you can actually find a PhD machine down this hallway. Now this is quite possibly the biggest troll that Treyarch has ever implemented into zombies, and if you were able to buy a PhD flopper on this map, it would make the game playable. But speaking of Treyarch trolling us, if we jump over to Mob of the Dead and head down by the docks, you will see that there is a PhD and mule kick machine outside the map. But if we make our way underneath the map to the spiral staircase, instead of putting the numbers in that you see on the wall, if you input 115, this happens.
Not this time.
But now moving over to Buried, probably the most glitchiest and broken map in Black Ops 2, there's a bunch of different things you can do on this map. If you get the paralyzer out of the box and head over to this tree in front of the church, if you just keep running and flying through the air enough at this tree, eventually you will land in the tree and be completely invincible to the zombies and they will pile up for you. But did you know there's actually a way that you can infinitely duplicate your money? If you head over to the bank and throw down a time bomb and then lay down behind the counter and add as much money as you want, you can activate the time bomb and then pick up your money again, and you will now have successfully duplicated your money, and you can deposit it as much as you want into the bank and keep repeating this process for as long as you want. Now, duplicating money is super cool, but did you know there's actually a way to get inside of Leroy's cage and be completely invincible? If you build the trample steam and then head over to Leroy's cage and angle the trample steam just like this, you can shoot Leroy to send him back into his cage so he'll close the door. And then if you dolphin dive at the trample steam at the right angle, you will actually get launched into his cage and be invincible. Now this is cool, but it's not very great because the zombies' pathing gets super messed up and then they kind of just pile up in random areas, but nonetheless a super fun glitch to do. And lastly on Buried, some of you might know that the Remington pistol actually takes place of the Python. So if you put the Remington pistol in the locker and then head over to another map like Transit that also has a weapons locker, instead of getting the Remington, you will get the Python. And for the last map of this video, if we head over to Origins, did you know there's actually a way to get a free zombie blood? If you build the ice staff and then shoot 3 wagons that are on fire around the map, you can get a zombie blood. The first wagon is just off the excavation site on the way to the church. The second one is right outside of Generator 5, and the third one is actually right at the excavation site. Once you do this, you'll hear a noise, and if you make your way over to the Pack-a-Punch machine, you now have a free zombie blood. And yes, this can be done once per round. And as we all know on Origins, the Easter egg song is from Avenged Sevenfold. But did you know there's actually 2 other Easter egg songs on the map? The first song will be activated by finding these 3 green meteorites around the map. The first one is in Spawn, the second one is in the building that connects Gen 2 to Gen 3, and the last one is just outside the excavation site on this catwalk. And for the second Easter egg song, if you head all the way back to Gen 1 and you lay prone and you hit interact on both number 1s on the floor and then head over to Gen 5 and do the exact same thing, the second Easter egg song will play.
Oh, this mud. I can barely move.
Now, if you guys did enjoy this video, please drop a like, subscribe, comment down below. If you guys have any other facts, secrets, tips, glitches, anything like that from any zombies game that can possibly make it into a future video, please let me know. I do plan on doing BO3, BO4, possibly Cold War, possibly Infinite Warfare, maybe even World War II, and maybe BO6. So let me know down below if you guys have anything you want featured. And as always, thank you so much for watching all the way to the end of the video, and I will see you guys next time.